And you can rewatch it if you like. We can get home and do it out tomorrow. At first he told me that he had a conflict. I don't know if he was trying to make arrangements or not. And I don't know about it. I think I pretty much heard from everyone else.
Yes.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Candidates, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time and your energy that you're going to bring as a candidate to the Board of Directors. This is an opportunity for you to share with everyone within Cypress Village a little bit more about you and your candidacy. Maybe learn a little bit more about your background, your experience, what kind of experience that you have that you can bring to make you a successful Board of Director candidate in Cypress Village. And then we'll ask you maybe something a little bit about what you would like to bring to this role and serving on the board, and maybe some ideas or goals that you may have that you want to share with everyone else. So as I had mentioned before, we're going to start off, we're going to ask these 3 questions. We're going to start over here to my right, move left. The second question, we'll start over on my left and move down. And then on the last question, we'll again repeat that and go back the other direction. That way it gives everyone an equal opportunity, and we're just gonna ping pong where we start. Any questions before we begin? Okay. So Jen, I'm gonna start off with you. Would you please introduce yourself?
Sure.
And describe a little bit about your personal and professional background that you would bring to this position.
Okay. I'm Jennifer Dodrell. I've been with the board off and on for the past since 2023. I've lived in Cypress Village since 2011 when we moved here when we retired. Prior to that, I spent 33 years as an emergency department nurse. And the last 6 years of my career, I managed the medical monitoring program for the EPA in Philadelphia. So nursing, as you all know, people are rule followers, they're detail oriented, and they are key in on policies and procedures, skills that I carry into community leadership. Outside of governance, working with the HOA, POA. I like working in the yard and fishing, but truly my greatest joy is my grandkids. I love them. I love spending time with my family, and they are really my life. So that's basically where I've been the last 20, 30, 40 years, working and or being retired and serving here. When we go down a little further, I can give you some more association related experience that I've had, but that'll be a little bit later.
Great.
Thanks.
Gordon.
Hi, Gordon Weller. I was born in Rochester, New York, up by Lake Ontario. Lived there, born and lived there for 59 years until we moved down here. I've been married to my wife, Diane. Raise your hand, Diane. She's the one in the yellow. Or, I have to get this right, otherwise
Yes.
you know what'll happen, right? For 63 years.
Oh my goodness.
Going on in June 2nd, it'll be a 64.
Yes.
1 year later. Very good. I made it. And we're still going strong. We've had 2 children. Our daughter is still alive. We lost our son, and she lives up by Lake Ontario also. I attended the Rochester Institute of Technology. It's a tech college for 4 years at night. And I worked for the Xerox Corporation, the copier company. And I was there as a senior manufacturing engineer. And you probably say, well, what kind of engineer is that? Because we have engineers on trains and we have all kinds of engineers, right? But my job was I was handed off a product out of product design, and I had to set up an assembly line to assemble this product and produce it. And that involved writing procedures, training operators, setting up stations that equaled one another so that people could move the product, and quality, tooling, and everything that's involved. Most people think of that as they've seen this as car assembly lines where you see the people working. Well, this is the same thing for copiers. Okay. During that time up there, I was a Boy Scout counselor for merit badges, a chairperson. This is my most exciting part. Chairperson for a Girl Scout cookie sales. In fact, I like the mints. Diane just came home with a couple of them yesterday, and I ate both boxes. They're gone today. So I do. You can tell by my shape and where all those cookies go. I was also the treasurer of the Rochester Flying Club. I went for my private pilot's license, so I was treasurer of that, treasurer of the Webster Community Chest, president of the Webster Lions Club, and president of the Sugar Mill Woods Rotary. Okay, after that, I will pass. That's enough for my personal background.
Hi, my name is Starla Ogg. We moved to Florida last year. I had lived in Gardner, Kansas for 54 years. And we finally got my daughter to move down here with my grandkids. And so she finally gave the okay. So we all moved down here. Have been totally impressed with Sugar Mill Woods. Love it here. I was raised in family restaurants, so work ethics are instilled. And when I got married, I stayed home and was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of years, so that I could be involved in the PTOs, PTAs, whatever you want to call them now, the booster clubs, and I was in the JCs back at home, always served on the board. So I was involved in everything we could get involved in, made my husband get involved also. And very strong-willed person, I'm not a follower. If I have an opinion, it's my opinion, and you're usually not going to change my mind. I'm very, very outspoken. I have some pretty firm beliefs, and that's kind of how I am. I'm also on the Common Grounds Committee. I'm the treasurer of the Civic Association. I'm a member of the Elks and the Lady of the Elks. So I keep busy since we've moved here. I was always the one on our block back home that organized all of our community events, and I love people. So getting out and meet my neighbors has been something that I've taken a lot of time to do since we've moved here. I think we've got a really good street. I've pretty much met everybody, met a lot of people, made a ton of friends since we've moved here. So love it here. Thank you.
Bobby.
I am Bobby Perot. I moved here around 2017 from Maryland. I have 3 kids. They were all foster kids. They were raised. We adopted them. So by dealing with the foster care system, I learned how to deal with courts and lawyers and all that good stuff. I also worked for Social Security for a number of years, where I worked with all the attorneys who did a lot of the paperwork with the president and Congress and all that. Before I retired, I actually worked for the state of Maryland for about 15 years. Basically, by being a parent of foster kids, and 2 of my kids are disabled. So I learned how to deal with attorneys and doctors and the court system. I learned to be very precise, and I always am a very precise person. I want things in order, and I keep track of everything. And by doing that, it makes it easier to keep track of things. One of my goals is, and I'm kind of like Starlight, I do have my own opinion. I believe in transparency and fairness. I want everybody to have a voice. I wish there was more people here this evening. It'd be nice to have more people. I don't know how many are on Zoom, but I have been associated with the association as a director for about, well, kind of, this will be going into my second full term. So it's kind of hard to explain back and forth the different times I was in here. Being detail oriented, I also have learned to read the Florida statutes. I know how to pretty much interpret them. If I don't know an answer, I will either go to Jared or ask somebody who's got more knowledge than me. But anyway, I think I've already shown by being on the board for the past several years, I've shown my ability to work with the community, and I do put the members first. Absolutely. That's it.
So Bobby, we're gonna start with you with the second question. So given all of that experience, everything that you have learned and the skills that you developed over that period of time, what are some of those skills that have helped inform you as a leader, as a board candidate, as serving on the board? And what would you bring to that board part of that?
Well, as I said, I'm very detail oriented, and I'm also the secretary at the moment. So one of my things is that I went through the back room, cleaned out all the files. I organized them, separated things so that everybody can go in there, especially like Jared, he can go in and find things now. And by being on the board, I've learned that you have to be patient. You have to work with other people. I could still voice my opinion, not necessarily agreeing with everybody, and I don't expect them to agree with me. By being on the board, I've definitely, like I said, I learned how to read the Florida statutes and the different laws. I know where to go to look the things up. So just my background from being on the board and just being part of the group. I'd like to continue.
First off, I want to thank Bobby because I've seen how many file cabinets are back there. Oh, my Lord, that had to have been a job. I think I would bring to the board some new perspectives. I've talked to a lot of people in the community. There's a lot of things that people are wanting that maybe have been brought up, have been turned down. We'll see. And I'm very easy to work with. Have headed a lot of committees, and I love to listen to people. Everyone's got a story and everyone's got to work together because we've all been there, done that, but maybe someone else has been there and done it differently. And so we all can learn from everyone. So I have a strong background in accounts receivable. I have some in accounts payable. From having the businesses and different jobs. I was ran over by a car in 2006. They told me I would never walk again. I told them that was not going to happen. And I went into I owned a restaurant and we had to go into a sit down job. And now I'm back up and running and stronger than ever. So thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks. Okay, my turn. All right. Okay, after I'll give you a little history of what I've done with the association. Because I see the next item after that is what we're going to bring to the board. Okay, after I retired, we spent several years, 2 years traveling from Florida back to Rochester. And then we moved here in 2002 2 or 3. And at that time I joined the, let's say I worked on the deed restriction committee and the architectural board committee. And I was also elected to the board and was elected the president. And during my term, with the help of the board, not me, with the help of the board, we instituted the email system that we have now. That was done by board member Tony Schmidt. I got that right. And that's the system now that Jared uses, and obviously it's been upgraded through the years to get many more names. And that's where you receive the emails from Cypress Village here. Tony did that. And then also this emblem here.
Trademark.
Pardon?
It's a trademark.
It's a trademark now, yes. We, at the time, this didn't belong to anyone. And we wanted to make sure that we kept it, Cypress Village kept it. And so that was done by my board member, Joanne Decker. Pardon? Joanne Decker. He worked with the lawyers involved with trademarks, so on and so forth. And she got that assigned to Cypress Village. So we own this as long as we maintain it. I think
It was just renewed last month.
Okay, oh, thank you. Very good, because it's every 10 years, is it? Okay, I thought it was 5, but every 10 years you have to renew it. So this does belong to us. And if anybody wants to use it, they have to come and ask permission from us to use it. Okay. Okay, the other one was the median on, this is a subject I've brought up on the I'm talking about on the board here. This is the medium on Cypress East. When I came here, it was like a riverbed. No one, if you haven't been here that long, no one realizes that it was in that bad shape. There was no grass. It was just weeds, rocks. And when it rained, it was like a riverbed. And the president before me instituted a special assessment. I've heard people talk about special assessments. Well, we had one back about 18 years ago, approximately, for $18. Now it would be a lot more. And to renovate that area. And it was passed by the community. And we put in a well and U-Pond to service the sprinklers on Cypress East. And we put in the sprinkling system. We put in the sod. And we also worked with, we had to work with the county and to do this. And I thought it was a signed document. But Jared, I have to give Jared credit. He is probably the best management we've ever had here. That's an A+ for you. But Jared found out that, and the board said, we don't have a document. And I thought we did, but Jared did some digging and he found that the paper was signed by me, but that's as far as it went. So I'll have to take some of the blame for that by not following up on that and making sure the county signed it, that we had a partnership with them to maintain that, but that doesn't exist. But anyway, those were the items, some of the items that when I was president, that our board worked on for the community. And I've always helped the community, and I'm still working with the community I'm on the fining committee. And that's where people that have not paid their fines, it's their last chance to try to talk to us to see if they've done, we'll say if they fulfilled their responsibilities or not and why they haven't. Okay, I will pass. Thank you very much. I will pass. Jennifer.
But yeah, give him a minute to get seated. We might need a couple more chairs.
Well, we got 3 speakers.
There's two more out there. Hi,
Jen, you wanna go?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm currently serving as president for CVPOA. Since I was reelected to the board back in late 2023. My service goes back further, though. I've actually been involved with the board. I think the first board meeting I ever attended was when we found out that the deed restrictions were expired and that we needed to revitalize our deed restrictions. That was the meeting over at the Methodist Church, and boy, what a show that was. But anyway, I've been involved since then. I've served on various committees. I've served on deed restrictions. I've stepped in, helped in common area. I chaired ACB for a very short period of time when there was nobody available to chair that. And my involvement prior to getting on the board in 2018, those gave me a solid foundation in the statutes, our governing documents, and our community's rules and regulations. I think one of the things that people don't realize how intense and how much knowledge you need to have to be on a board. It's not just coming on and saying, oh, let's get a dog park. Oh, let's get a playground. It's the fact that you have to figure out funding. You have to figure out liability. You have to figure out permitting. You have to figure out cost. You have to figure out maintenance. It's not just a simple, oh, let's get it. There's a lot more to it than that. And you have to be willing to do the work to find that information out. I am also, much like Bobby, a digger of information. If there's a report coming out, I'm going to read it. I am the bane of Jared's existence. I read every page. I question things. And, we need to know. We need to understand. Since the statute changed in the past couple of years, there's more transparency provided to the membership now than ever before. If you're not signed up for our website, you need to be. Anything you want to know about this community is there. Policies, procedures, resolutions, financials, contracts, anything you want to know, you can find it there. Education is the key, and it is also our biggest downfall in this community. The membership needs to have more education. We could probably provide more education, but in the times that we have tried to provide educational holdings for the membership, we usually have very poor attendance. I'm shocked that there's so many people here. I mean, last year when we had the candidate meet and greet, we had 2 of them. We had 2 people show up. That was it. So, this is nice to see so many people show up. My approach has always been very straightforward, even from the beginning, even when I was back on deed restrictions, every compliance. We have rules and regulations here that you sign, that you agree to when you do your closing documents. There's a page in there that you signed acknowledging that you're in a property owners association and that there are guidelines which you must follow. It's not optional, it's you must follow. So whether you read that page or not, it's there and you signed it. And legally, you're bound to that. We try to work with people as much as we can. That doesn't always work out. Sometimes there are hard choices that have to be made by the board. And it's our responsibility to make those hard choices as a group. And we don't all always agree on that. But the decision of the majority is what rules. So that's what has to happen. We've had a challenging year this year. We've had to deal with golf links. We've had to deal with Yopon and the encroachment there. So there's been some challenges this year and monies that were necessarily spent to defend that. If you have questions, you can always call and ask Jared, or he can direct you to a board member that can hopefully find answers for you. We're pretty accessible by and large, even though you may not think that. Jared's always our first line, but he's always willing to involve the rest of us if there's questions that need to be answered. We wish more people would volunteer to get into the line or into the chain to become board members, so you could familiarize yourself with the rules and regulations of the community and the guidelines that are set forth in the community, and you could learn the workings of the different committees. That's how you join in the group. Succession planning. Anyway, we have this past year, we've started a strategic planning committee, which we lack volunteers on. We want to set a plan moving the community forward for the next 10 years. But so far, all we have are board members that are willing to powwow and work together. We can't get any community involvement. So we would encourage you to maybe consider joining the strategic committee.
Oh, no, this is not a.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jen. Finish.
So, well, that's really about it. I mean, I've been around this board since 2018. I know the ins and outs. I know the rules, the regs, how things are done, how to get things done, how to do the research. So I've enjoyed serving on the board, and I hope to continue to be able to do so for another 3 years.
Okay, and before we get started with the third and last question, I did mention to everyone that Mike did alert me ahead of time with a potential conflict that he was trying to get out of, so he is able to join us. So Mike, would you mind sharing who you are, your background, and you know, what has influenced why you do what you do, and why you want to be a candidate?
Excuse me. The lady that was just speaking, I'm sorry, we walked in. What's her name?
Jennifer Dodrell.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Michael Allen, retired military. Also worked in law enforcement in the state of Florida. Been on deed restriction since 2021. Had a lot of good mentors here. Carol, Bobby, Jennifer. What's your name? Jared. Even this young man here, I've had a lot of people help me. Tim. And I like to think that their influence has made a big difference. When I started on deed restriction, we'd have 700 or 800 violations a month. Now we have 40 or 50, and not even egregious ones as much as we used to. Not because of me, but because of the community taking care of their properties and keeping our property values up. I continue to do so. Hope that people, or mostly the community, cares enough about their investments, which are huge here, to keep your property values and things up. I've been a station chief. I've had 200 guys at a time under my charge. Pretty successfully. I've been in charge of millions of dollars of equipment for the military. Been to a lot of countries. and just been an asset any place I was at. And just hope to continue to do so.
Great. So the third and final question, and since we have some new members, thank you for pointing that out. Will you just please restate your name before you speak? But then that last question, will you comment a little bit more about your candidacy and maybe what you want to do if you became a board of director, Cypress Village? Maybe what some goals would you have? What would you like to do as part of your, at the end of the year, you accomplished X, Y, and Z, or at least you brought forth something? Is there something that is burning, that made you want to run? You said, I want to accomplish this.
I think one, for me personally, it's to see a few projects through. I really have been excited about the strategic planning aspect of this. Trying to prepare for the future of Cypress Village, trying to prepare others to join the board, not to join the board with no knowledge of statute, no knowledge of our governing documents, but to help equip people so they'll have that base knowledge so they don't come in and flounder because they don't know the basics about what is involved when you're actually on a board, about financials, about contracts, about bids, about, you'll learn more about ACB permits and setbacks and DRAs and swales and all of that stuff than you'll ever want to know in your entire life. You will never imagine that you needed to know that stuff, but you do. And just because you're one board member doesn't mean you don't need to know those aspects, because you never know when you're going to be asked to step into another role within the board itself.
I don't want to be secretary. That's the whole job.
But, so I think succession planning is a big thing, and we've never had that with CVPOA. It's always been kind of whoever's silly and want to run. And if they get chosen, they're thrown into the arena with little or no knowledge. And in the past, we haven't had the guidance from our management companies. Now we have a great management company. So the hope would be that anybody that's selected to be on the board now will seek your counsel and will continue to provide good guidance. But that is particularly a passion for me, is the strategic planning committee. We also want to see this mailbox thing through. Everybody wants new mailboxes, but nobody wants to spend the money to have new mailboxes. So that was one reason why you see this capital contribution fee on the books this year. Ballot. It is designated specifically for mailboxes. It's a one-time fee for people that buy into our community or change properties. Like if I would downsize from my house to a house in the hammocks, I would pay a capital improvement fee, even though I've lived here for all these years. But still, it's a worthwhile fee because it will help us bring this project to fruition and closure much sooner. Back when this project was started several years ago, we knew it was going to cost over $1 million, and the prices just keep going up. So we know that. And that's just, one of the things that's important this time. So I would just encourage everybody to volunteer. If you want to be a part of this, if you want to be heard, then volunteer. Don't be a keyboard warrior. Don't hide behind the computer and criticize. Come to the meetings, be on a committee, and have your voice be heard that way. Be constructive. Don't be destructive. Everybody can be heard, and we can figure out, maybe your idea is not good. Maybe it's not something we can do now, but maybe it's something that we can put in the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. I don't know. I just think that we're moving in a positive direction. and we need to continue to do so. That's what I hope for this community. I mean, that's what I want. Safeguard the long-term values of this community. That's it. That's what the board wants to do. Thank you.
Mike?
Michael Howland again. I agree with some things that, Mrs. Dodd said. The biggest thing is our values of our homes and our properties. I hope that we can continue to move forward instead of backwards. I lived in Hernando County years ago and saw my beautiful neighborhood just take a dive. I was so shocked that I was told by 50 people it had never happened, and it happened. I would not want that to happen here. There's a lot of great people here. I mean, it truly are. A lot of people, I drive around, I see hundreds of people in their yards every week, all the time, doing stuff, painting their houses, fixing things, and it doesn't get done overnight, of course. But the big thing is our values, and that's why I do what I do. Not only, but that's the biggest reason why I do what I do. I wouldn't want to see anybody's taking a loss when they don't need to.
Well, as you can see, you heard my
Your name, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate your help. Really do. We know each other a little bit. Gordon Weller. Okay, I have to calm down now. He's got me laughing. As you can see, I have all the committees I've been on and my past actions on the board that I am committed to Cypress Village. And I am still serving on a committee. Okay, so I enjoy Cypress Village, and I have to agree with, you probably hear everything the same from the board members. That's the reason we're here, is because we want to continue to see that Cypress Village stays nice so you can maintain the value of your property. And we all agree upon that. You'll hear that from all of us. That's the reason we're here. And that's the reason you moved here, is because it's a deed restriction community. Okay, what I would like to do, one of the main things is you heard earlier that we don't have a partnership with the county on Cypress East. And I would like, as being on the board, I would like to achieve that so that they sign off and they're in a partnership with us and we continue to maintain it. It should be maintained for the money that we spent on in the past. We should not let it go. We should continue to mow it and service it. Also, our 1, 2, 3, 4 entrances, our main entrance, we own most of that property, but the other entrances on Oak Village Boulevard, Oak Park, thank you. Oak Park. Those are on, county property. We do not own that property. And if you look closely, some of them may not even be on county. We may have infringed upon somebody's private property. So.
I need to go on there. So many other movies. It's like the role he once said was his favorite. And Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
What did I say?
Yeah, meet the candidates and Gordy's talking.
Little background noise.
Will you please mute yourself?
Yeah.
Hi.
His character did not speak
I
entirely.
We can hear you. Could you mute? Could you please mute?
got it. Got that one. Got that one.
Okay. All right.
Case of mice.
Okay, back to the properties that we have on our beautiful entrances that we maintain. We have lights there. We put electric not me personally, but the community, water. We have our signs, bushes, shrubs. I would like to work with the county and enter into a stewardship with them that gives us the right to maintain our entrances. And then again, those are my two main items. But then again, as I said, and we all agree, is to work with the community and make sure it stays beautiful so we can get our resale values. Thank you.
Thank you. Starla?
Hi, my name is Starla Ogg, and my biggest hope and goal is just to get the community more involved. I talk to my neighbors and they don't even know things that are going on. And I'm just amazed. I'm like, really? And because the board can't do things on their own, as Jen has already told you, it takes a village to keep everything moving forward. So I just hope that people would come out and volunteer. I'm on the Common Ground Committee, which we go out and inspect the trees. And some people don't even know that we have such a thing in here. Well, we do. And we keep your property safe from trees, falling and harming them. I'm a big one on bringing people together. No community is a good community unless you know your neighbors. You need to know what's going on all around you. Everyone has budgets. And I know that it's really hard. We've all got expenses that are going up every year. And I just really think that we need to, if something happens, everybody's got to come together somehow or another and figure out, how does this work? I mean, it's just the way it's got to be. The planning that Jen talked about, that's so important. And for where we need to be in 10 years, I hope that people do get involved in that committee. I myself am not. Is that right? No. But I've gotten involved in so many other things that I don't want to get involved in too many and then not be able to take care of what I'm in. I used to sell real estate before we moved, and there's a lot to know about contracts and contractual law and everything. So there's a lot that goes into knowing anything about being part of a board or a committee or anything. Because even a committee has, things that you can't say, do, whatever. So my hope is just to get, to bring the community closer together. And that would be one of my biggest goals. I have other things that I would like to see done. But those would be talked about at a later date. So I just encourage everybody, come up here. And Darian just told me last week, and if no one knows who Darian is the one that sits at the front desk in here. You can also come in and sit and help and learn what goes on in the office, because when I come in, I'm cheerful and, well, usually. And I come in and help. I don't help, I sit and talk. But Darian, some days they're frizzled in here. Jared takes a lot, and Jennifer Beebe takes a lot. And I guess sitting in the background, I never thought about it. But Darian's like, come in here and sit for a day, see what we go through. And so I do plan on doing that. I've got a really busy week this week with my committees that I'm on. So I'm hoping to get up here next week. And I would encourage everybody to get in here and learn what goes on in our community. And maybe we could fix things that are wrong. Thank you.
I am Bobby Perot. One of the things I forgot to bring up was back in 2017, 18, one of the former presidents took it upon herself to increase the assessments for half lots, which was wrong. It should never have happened. and I was not on the board at the time. And that was one of the reasons that motivated me to get on the board, because I spent hours accumulating documents, researching, presented it to the attorney, and she confirmed that that was incorrect. It should never have happened. All the people in the villa homes that were being charged extra money should never have been charged. And I'm very proud of the fact that I helped save a lot of people a lot of money. And just to be clear, I personally live in a villa home, but I was not affected. I just took it upon myself to help the others. And that's what I want to continue to do. I helped with setting up the website. I'm on the policies and procedures, common area. Not that I do a lot on the common area, but I do help with the research. And there's so many things. We all know how homeowners associations, POAs, everybody hates them. We sign the document saying we're going to join them, but we don't like them. And then there's the problem of making sure that everybody's in compliance. Nobody wants to spend money, but it has to happen. As we know, the rules and regulations are changing about homeowners associations and POAs, condos. Talk about disbanding them. Well, the only way we can stay in good standing with our members is to make sure that people stay in compliance, but we also have to make sure that we're not targeting people. We have to be careful of selective enforcement, that one person does something, it has to be, the whole community has to have the same compliance. Different people have different issues. There's deaths in families, sicknesses. We have to adjust and allow. I think it's important to hear what people have to say. If they have problems, we're not in the market to make money off of hearing fines. If somebody comes into compliance, we should be able to work with them. And if they come into compliance, don't enforce their fine. You know, it's like, that's not the goal of this community. And I know there isn't one homeowner in here that wants to pay a fine, and especially if you can come into compliance. So my goal has always been, and will continue to be, is to work with the members, listen to what people have to say, try to negotiate. It's not always a fun job, but I always want to make sure that the members are the ones that are represented, not just the directors making the decisions. We have to listen to the community. That's it.
Great. So this is the formal question wrap up, but I think I'm going to give each of you an opportunity, as I stated from the beginning, closing remarks. So Bobby, would you mind just sharing a little bit of, if there's anything that you would like to add to what you shared today, or give people an opportunity of why they should vote for you as one of the 3 board candidates, because there's 6 candidates, 3 of them are elected. So why should they vote for you?
One, every time that I've run, I have been elected by the members. I was never appointed. I was always elected by the members. I always make a point of talking to people. And I think just the background that I have and how much I've contributed to this organization shows a lot of what I stand up for. And I stand up for every one of you. I think it's important that you all get heard and not just automatically assume that we know everything.
Thank you.
I just want to say once again that I'm very independent, very balanced. I have a huge community investment here because I did bring my daughter. She has her own house. And I just would love to get more involved. Thank you.
Gordon Weller. My past presentation to you, I have explained on the different committees I have belonged to. So you can see that I have dedicated myself to helping this community with all the time I have spent here, and I am still on a committee. So all I can say is my past history talks for itself. Thank you.
How am I supposed to follow that?
Well, you're good.
You've been here 20 years.
Yeah, but it's not all documented, you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
have to say,
It's hard to follow, I tell you.
even though he's
He's been on every committee. I think that he started the committee.
but he's a competitor at this point. But
Yeah.
I have to say that how I really know what he does, I'm on the finding committee, and that's the last place people can come to say, yes, talk to us and we'll uphold your fine or you won't. And that's by the state statute, okay? But the person that does the investigation, and because he doesn't have that many volunteers on this committee, he spends hours for this community, driving in his truck, going through the different areas and checking on people. And I really give him credit for that, because a lot of volunteers would not do that. And then he comes and if we need help on an explanation of a homeowner, right?
In a homeowner's behalf, because.
Right. And the problem that we have, and we don't understand it as a finding committee, then this is the man we go to. So even though he's my competitor, I have to say that he does a fantastic job for this community.
Well, the hardest, I'm Michael Howland, hardest thing about doing deed restriction I don't know who owns what for the most part. If it's one of the people on the committee, I go and officiate. So if they write people's houses up or mold on their house or driveway or roof or sidewalk or whatever it is, I'm the one that goes back and officiates them on the Sunday before the finding committee. So I'm the last person to see if anything's in compliance or not. So a lot of times the finding committee gets their paperwork. It's all generated on Monday morning. They have their meeting Monday afternoon. And I'm not present for any votes or for anything else. I don't even know what the outcomes are. I just know that any questions they have about the property, and more times than not, I'm representing the homeowner because I was the last one that was there. As far as the finding goes, I don't make those decisions. I don't even know what the fines are most of the time because there's different rates for different things. I know that we have a percentage of people that will put their head in the sand, which is unfortunate because we're willing to work with anybody. And when I'm out on those Sundays, a lot of those properties, there's nobody there. But if there is somebody there and they have something to say or even give me any indication that they're working on it or I see any of it, then I try my best to shut it down until the next 30 days and things like that. So I really try hard to work with anybody on anything, but I don't make the determinations. I just do the documentation of where we are with whatever property it is, no matter who it is. Even myself, I had to pay $1.57 last year for getting written up for my garage door being open too long. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is. It's in the deed restriction. And then I had to pay $1.57.
$1.50
for postage. And we've since changed that you no longer have to pay. Yeah, it was retarded, but I almost got my voting rights suspended because I owed $1.57. So, I'm me, Bobby, I mean, anybody here, we're all subject to the same rules as far as that goes. That's all I got. It's all you. Good luck.
I don't know what to say.
Any closing remarks?
I know. Those that know me. Thanks, Mom. I'm highly principled. I'm detail oriented, and I am committed to Cypress Village. I want Cypress Village to look good, not only because I live here, but because we should each have pride and ownership, and we should each want this village to look good so we can sell our homes when the time comes. We tried to be transparent. If we failed in that respect, I would say that might be on the member, because if you ask the question, we'll find you an answer. It may not be the answer you want, but we'll find you an answer, and we'll find you a correct and true answer. So my commitment is to equality, equal enforcement, avoidance of selective enforcement, and trying to provide more education for the community. That's what I hope to see. I mean, it's really pretty simple. We all need to try to work together. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you, candidates. That's the end of the formal questions. Now I want to invite anyone if you want to walk and talk and just get up and relax. We're going to pause and stop the video Zoom for right now. So thank you all for everyone who joined us on Zoom. There are about 15 participants at the max there, so it's pretty good. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Wish you were here, but anyone here in the room want to ask questions individually of each of the candidates, feel free. This is not going to be a formal thing, so everyone can just stand up and move around, get out of your seats, get comfortable, relax a little bit, and enjoy. So thank you.
They just wanted to ask, are all of the candidates here to see the